What's up, guys and gals? It's your host of the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys some more Jujutsu Kaisen, Chapter 215, Chapter Review. Now, before we get underway with this one, just a quick shout out to the fact that we will not be discussing the very controversial Chapter Review reaction from the previous chapter. We won't be discussing that here. We had a very long, very in-depth live stream earlier, so you can definitely go check out that. The VOD is up there if you're curious about my reasonings and stuff like that for the previous very controversial review, but we're not going to be talking about that here, you know, because we already talked about it in the live stream. So we're moving on from that one, and we're here for chapter 215. Right out of the gate, I'm going to say that this was a good chapter, just so, you know, we can try to move on from people's hatred of me. We're going to move on and say, yeah, already out of the gate, this chapter was a pretty good chapter. We open up with it's not translated, so I don't really know what's going on. Apparently there must have been a popularity poll of some description, because we have Yuji and Yuta on the cover of a Shonen Jump thing. There's numbers there, but it's not translated, so I have no idea what this exactly is entailing. I have no idea, but either way, Yuji is there, looking pretty swagger, you know, the red. I can never wear the red dress shirts, even though red is a very nice color. It looks kind of dark, kind of sexy, you know what I mean? You wear the black tux with the red dress shirt. It looks really good if you have nice complexion, but for me, you know, it always just makes all the redness of my face pop, you know, and so I can't really pull it off. But Yuji looking pretty slick, pretty sexy going on here. And then Yuta is having trouble tying a tie, and you know what? I gotta give it to him. I only tie ties like once every couple of years, and I always forget how to do it. I've got the general idea, and then I'm like, no, that's not right, blah, blah, blah. Then you end up looking up a YouTube video, or you find a real adult to do it for you, because once again, why would I know how to tie a tie? I'm an electrician. I don't wear ties to work. So, yeah, but don't worry, Yuta. I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain. Yeah, it's just like, I don't think I really got this right, you know? Bow ties are even harder. I've never successfully made a bow tie. So, yeah. Anyways, we move on to the rest of the chapter, and we get this big color spread thing. It seems like at the end of the last chapter, Yuji with the, let's see if you can swallow me and my suffering. Sukuna, try me, and then boom. Of course, Yuji ends up just walking through cleave, dismantle, whatever the hell he was using, and just bops him in the face at the end of the last chapter. So we're going back in time slightly, while Kenjaku and Uraume, I believe is this person's name. I think it's a chick myself, but I have no idea. So, because I had to look it up, I was like, oh yeah, this is the one that's like 1,000 years old too, works with Sukuna and stuff. And apparently, yeah, that's the case here, preparing the bath, whatever the bath means. And, but they're referred to as a they because we're not sure of the gender. That's fine, whatever. Giving smack to Kenjaku though, not taking any shit. Clearly, her master is Sukuna, because Bao kneels before Sukuna, gets very, you know, and stuff in this chapter about Sukuna, and is treating Kenjaku like, yeah, piss off, silence. I have no time for you and your little games and stuff. So it's like, all right, so working with Kenjaku for whatever reason, but has no interest in Kenjaku or is an underling, shall we say. And so we start off the chapter, it's Curse Wound Under Heaven Part 7, of course. Then we jump back to the fact that Yuji did smack Sukuna in the face. Now, of course, it didn't do shit. It might have been cool for a lot of people. But I knew, I was like, I'm sitting back there and from the last chapter going, Sukuna, how are you not absolutely destroying this guy right now? And then we got the explanation at the end of the chapter, and even right here. Though, however, even though Yuji, super durable, super like that's his thing, it's his physical characteristics. He's not that he's not bad at cursed energy or anything like that, but his big thing is, I'm a frontline brawler type of fighter, right? That's his deal. And yeah, this didn't hurt Sukuna at all. He's just going there, and then he mentions that there are fluctuations that Fushiguro is suppressing his energy output. At worst, I only have access to 10% of my usual maximum. That says at its worst, but it's fluctuating. See, here's the thing. I was checking the Discord and the Reddit and stuff about this line, and a lot of people, I think, are under a very bad impression that he is at 10% and not 11, not 12, not any other number higher for this entire fight. That is not the case. All right, just so we're clear, that is not the case. He's saying there are fluctuations. Now that means things are changing, right? So it's constant fluctuating, but at its worst. So when the fluctuation is downhill, at its worst, he only has about 10% of his power. It doesn't mean that he only has 10% 24/7, all 365. So there is that type of thing, and he even says, like, but his flesh is unhindered, he can still move. He took the Yuji punch, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm fine, I can still move, I can still dodge. Alright, so physically, I'm fine. Later on in the chapter, it's discussed that when he attacks, when he directly, and he uses cleave in a very interesting way that we didn't know was possible, he discussed this and says, whenever I'm seemingly attacking Fushigoro's friends, that's when the fluctuation starts to dip to its lowest. That would be the 10% with his cursed energy output. So, so that explains why he was able to use Nu, and this thing was massive last year, like holy shit, right? And in the previous chapters, in 2 chapters ago, and he launched that crazy thunderous attack and all that stuff, but Fushigoro's fucking with it, so that basically it's only at 10%, so Sukuna can't just straight up kill, like cleave, done, dismantle, done. Yuji's just done, Maki's just done, everybody's just done, right? So that's a good explanation, but I found a lot of people misinterpreted this for some reason as he's at 10% now, 24/7. In this fight, he's only at 10%. He never goes higher. That's not really the case. At least the way I read it. Like when he uses Cleave's spiderweb, that's not at 10%, because once again, it's not directly. The fluctuations are happening, but only supposedly when he's directly trying to use cursed energy to attack Yuji or Maki in this fight. The fluctuations, it might not be maximum, but it can be higher. At least that's the way I read it. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I noticed a lot of people didn't read it that way, so I could be wrong, but this is what it is. Yuji goes on to try, like, he's gonna keep up. He's gonna start fighting, that kind of idea. But Sukuna's pretty confident that this amount of cursed energy is still more than enough to take him down. He's not worried about it. And then we get this awesome shot of Maki just a chillin'. Sukuna's like, wait, what? Maki's just a chillin'. Now there is a line. Explain this. I have no idea why she's not using the Tetsaiga. I have no fucking idea why she's not using the Tetsaiga in this fight. But she chooses not to. I don't really know why, but there is a line about it, but I didn't understand it, so maybe somebody, who has the time or understood it right away can explain it to me. But either way, Maki's just straight up like, bring me up to speed right now, and Yuji straight up, kill him, he's not gonna die. And I'm like, whoa, Yuji, Jesus. And I mean, he's still all cut up, he's still lacerated as hell, and he's just like, yep, just, I know it looks like Fushigoro doesn't even say that, just straight up kill him. And it's like, alright. And Sukuna even acknowledges, like, wait a minute, this woman's no small fry, she's something. And then we get, in my opinion, the worst part of the chapter is these 3 panels of speed lines. They are just literally scribbled speed lines. I don't get the purpose of having 3, like, almost like a picture too zoomed in this spread after Yuji said he's not going to die. This is my only real problem with this chapter. Other than, once again, Maki not using the Tetsaiga, but maybe that's explained, I don't know. But 3 separate panels of speed lines that show us and tell us nothing. That was kind of like, what was the purpose of that? What is the purpose of these 3 panels? Showcasing... I don't know what's going on. I assume they're moving, So, anyways, we do see that Sukuna is able to seemingly take on both of them at the same time. Once again, I'm surprised Yuji's still standing. That was one of the big critiques of my last chapter review, that Yuji should barely be, like, not just trying to catch his breath, but on his 2 feet is rather impressive, if not downright ludicrous right now. And the fact is that he's fighting up against Sukuna here in Fushigoro's body. The fact that he's keeping up is still, as I said, relatively impressive. but Sukuna doesn't seem that worried and is more focused on fighting up against Maki, who, realistically, let's see, ends up grabbing his arm, socking him in the face, and then does a Rokurogon and slams him right into this big gate, big piece of fence that Yuji ends up trying to wrap around Sukuna and stuff like that, and he's just not taking it that seriously. And Maki, here's where the line happens that Maki says, if he's not gonna die, does that mean he can heal the wounds from the soul liberation blade with reverse curse technique? Well, I don't get it. Like, why specifically, like, I guess I forget what her Tetsaiga does, her soul liberation blade, like, but why isn't she using it to cut his ass up? I have no idea what's preventing her, and she's worried about, I guess she's worried that when she attacks, he can just use reverse curse technique to negate the damage. But can you not also use reverse curse technique to negate physical damage anyways? Like, the blade is still physical as well, and, like, they're still punching him. Like what my point is that is RCT only for soul damage? No, it's not, because I've seen it used multiple times to heal any type of injury. Any type of injury can be healed with RCT. So I don't get what this line's implying. Maybe I'm forgetting something key, and that's why she's just going straight physical. Still badass, but I'm not really fully understanding that one. So if someone in the comments can explain that. So this is where Maki tells Yuji, like, I'm gonna speed, like, basically, I'm gonna take this shit seriously. Can you keep up? Yuji claims yes. Once again, not gonna go on a Yuji thing. People seem to think I don't like Yuji. I do like Yuji. I feel fucking bad for the man. Like, holy shit. Unlike every other shonen protagonist that I've ever read, this man's situation just goes from bad to worse and never gets better. Tragedy after tragedy. The man barely ever wins a battle. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I mean, like, even when he wins the battle, he ends up losing the war. Every arc, this man loses something. He loses a friend, he loses a teacher, he loses a person, he loses something. Something goes wrong. He loses himself, in a way. When Sukuna took over in Shibuya and stuff. No matter what, every arc, this man is losing. And I just feel really bad for the man in that regard. But the fact of the matter is that I still don't really buy that not only can he keep up with Maki, but the fact that he's doing it right now as heavily injured as he is. Durability's a feat, but how crazy are we going to go? I don't know, but it is what it is. Either way, it does lead to some pretty cool looking choreography, some pretty cool looking battle. Yuji and Maki trying to tag team up against Sukuna here. Seemingly it ends up working for the most part because they both end up getting some shots in. Sukuna is managing, though, after those initial blows from Maki, is managing to fight off Yuji with one arm and Maki with the other arm. Now, we expect this from Sukuna, but it's like, holy crap. And as I said, thank Christ Maki's on the scene, because I have no doubt in my mind that Sukuna would have completely fodderized Yuji at this point, after going, yeah, okay, so Fushiguro, so I just gotta beat him physically, okay, no cursed energy, alright, and went at him, and I don't think Yuji would have stood a chance, especially with this panel showcasing that he's able to defend, like, one arm per person up against the definition of physical fighters in this series, and it's like, shit. So Sukuna's just crazy. Then we get as I said, the Cleave Spiders thread, and this is where we get the explanation, which once again, this is why I believe that the fluctuations thing, people misinterpreted that, the 10% thing, because it says, when I'm about to hurt his friends, it looks like the rejection is stronger and dampens the output of my curse technique. If that's the case, ... he attacks the ground, so to speak. Spider's thread destroying the ground. This tells me that that's not at 10%, because he's talking about, once again, the rejection is at its strongest, or worst, if you will, at maximum of 10% when he's directly attacking them. And he even says, well, if that's the case, if I'm directly attacking, that's when the output goes down. I'll attack the ground and the fluctuation won't matter. It's beyond 10%. At least the way I'm reading it, I think it's pretty obvious, but I saw a lot of people misinterpret that. Especially on Reddit. Not so much on Discord, but on Reddit. I saw a lot of people talking their output and the percentage and all this stuff. People were doing like some crazy math, and I was sitting there like, yeah, but that's not what he said. So I don't know. That's just me. And then boom, here comes Sukuna knowing right away to go after Maki. Like, I'm sorry. Maki is got she's her. She's got that shit, right? So Sukuna knowing directly to not worry about Yuji, go straight after Maki in this particular instance. Just because Maki, I would argue, is probably the best physical fighter currently alive in the series. So it just makes sense. And slam, punches, like, thinks he's got her, bam, and all Maki does is spits out a little bit of blood, and then Sukuna's like, whoa, not bad. Like, he expected that to do way more. He's like, damn, girl, you got them gains. Okay, so Sukuna's pleasantly surprised to fight someone, physically at least, giving him a challenge at the very least. I think we can argue, and then boom, 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 we get a bunch of flashes of them fight. They fight, and this is where maximum output dead calm comes into play. Now, I think this technique was called something else. I thought it was like freezing calm or something like that from Uraume back some arcs ago, but unless this is the maximum version, this is a new technique or something like that. I just remember the calm. What was it called? It was called something. I thought it was like freezing calm or calm frozen or something like that. Anyways, so yeah, either way, dead calm, a very badass super panel of like just straight up, no bullshit. I still think Uraume is a she. She's got ice powers. Just straight up, her cursed energy is ice powers, and I'm good with it. I'm happy with it. It just, sometimes overcomplicated is fun. Sometimes the abilities and the restrictions of the Nen system and stuff from Hunter x Hunter and stuff is quite in-depth, but can produce some really cool fights, some really cool results. Sometimes, however, you just want some straight up, they got ice powers. That's what it is. We're not going to go into some crazy thing about, the reason the ice is... No. Just straight up ice powers, and it's cool. It's really cool. It's straight up just some chill devil fruit shit, and I'm here for it. So completely caught Maki and Yuji by surprise, encased them in ice. Now this is where we get a little bit more of the Sukuna Uraume, like how they interact with each other sort of idea. Like she's very like subservient, so very I want the praise, and is very happy when Sukuna praises her and stuff like that. So it's very interesting to me to see this dynamic, because I don't think we really saw this before. Now that Sukuna's basically awake, has no need of Kenjaku. It's like, silence Kenjaku, I don't care what you want or you need anymore. I'm going after, this is my master sort of idea. And says like, please forgive me. I apologize that I'm late and this, that, and the other thing. Also mentions that I have weakened the ice surrounding Yuji. So Yuji breaking out of the ice is not considered a feat in this regard, I guess. Just like, because it was already explained. I've weakened the ice around him just so that, like, if you still need him, we can quickly grab him. He's probably going to break out soon, that kind of idea. Just to explain why Maki, I guess it's more so not so much to care about a feat, but just to show that Maki's not breaking out of the ice, and Yuji did, but just explaining how that worked. Sukuna, once again, not giving a shit, disrespecting our main character Yuji, while at the same time just calling him a brat. He served his purpose, don't care about him. But that woman I was fighting, goddamn, I'm glad that you didn't weaken the ice around her, because holy shit, she's something. She's something. So, yeah, I like that opinion stuff. Then we got Nu being summoned again, and Sukuna knows about the bath. That was another thing. People would, like, when Kenjaku and Uraume were talking about the bath and stuff, it's like, does Sukuna know about this? Are they trying to use Sukuna for their own ends? This, that, the other thing. And clearly, this has all been set up. This is all part of the plan, sort of idea. And Sukuna knows about the bath, wants to get in the bath, and said this body is still incomplete. Get the bath ready. So I'm assuming it's going to be like proper sync, to sync or submit Fushigoro's soul completely to Sukuna, so Sukuna has complete control over the body 100%. So there's no rejection, there's none of this restriction, there's none of that shit. I'm assuming that's what the bath does, but we don't actually know yet. And then once again, as I said, the praise is there, and Uraume very happy to be praised and helping out Sukuna. Then Yuji, of course, breaks out of the ice, and I have a feeling I have a feeling because at first I was like, God damn, those wounds don't seem to be bleeding so much anymore, but he's still scarred up to shit. Yuji's still scarred up really good. Once again, if any of you know, yeah, freezing wounds. They froze the wounds so that they stop bleeding. It's the same with when you heat up the iron and seal the wound. You cauterize the wound. Same idea with high levels of freezing and cold. You can end up just, you won't be bleeding. Trust me, I've cut myself in minus temperatures that exist up in Canada, and you don't bleed. You don't bleed because the cut just freezes over. When it warms up, it'll definitely start bleeding again and stuff, unless it's of course starting to scab over and heal and stuff. But yeah, high or really cold temperatures, not high temperatures, really cold temperatures would have stopped all the bleeding. Probably ended up inadvertently saving Yuji's life, because those lacerations weren't just surface level. Some of those looked really deep, and he was bleeding all over the place. Like, blood loss is a problem, right? So that inadvertently probably ended up saving Yuji's life, or at least making it so his life is no longer in any danger. So somehow Sukuna's henchman there retroactively probably ended up saving Yuji's life in this instance, or at the very least making it, as I said, no death flags over Yuji. And this is where they're like, shall I kill him? It's like, hold on, let's have a good laugh. How pathetic. He's looking down on Yuji being like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean? And it's just like, damn, Sukuna with the insults. And meanwhile, I'm sitting back thinking from the previous chapter, I'm thinking, Sukuna, you were the one who didn't authorize this kid, this brat as you call him, when you should have done that in less than a second. One attack should have ended Yuji's entire career, his children, his grandchildren. There would be nothing. Everything would be atomized. His family tree would feel the hits. And you fucked up. So I'm sitting there sort of like, yeah, you're talking the smack, you're talking the trash, but the fact that he's still able to move, from battling you, it's actually more impressive on Yuji's side, or not even impressive on Yuji's side, it's more pathetic on Sukuna's side that he hasn't completely destroyed him. Of course, we do have the explanation as to why and stuff, I get it. I'm just talking shit for the sake of talking shit, but it's sort of like, yeah, he got them balls talking shit down to Yuji and stuff. How did my reaction from 214 get in this chapter? Crazy. But yeah, how pathetic and stuff. And they mention a dude from like 1,000 years ago or whatever. They mentioned a sorcerer they once knew. He's got the same mouth and stuff like that, looks just like him. They're saying this like talking down to him. But this is implying that maybe we're going to get a family history lesson on probably the mother's side, I'm going to assume, because that's where Kenjaku took the anti-gravity technique from. So I'm going to assume that Yuji's mother's line is the line that they're talking about. There's probably some super connection from 1,000 years ago. They're a family of sorcerers, something like that. It could be from the dad's line, but I sort of figure like since the mother had the technique, it's probably from her side of the family, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, it was as I said, it was a good chapter. It was a pretty solid chapter, and that's all I got for this one. I think I went through everything I wanted to talk about, and yeah, that was chapter 215. I'm sort of glad the fight's over, and now we're gonna have to regroup. We're gonna get some characters together and be like, okay, what's our plan of attack? Because now that Sukuna's awake and in Fushigo's body, shit's getting real, So we gotta come up with a new plan. Like, basically, this whole culling game thing was a big waste of our time because we're just in a worse situation right now. So, like, is Hannah even alive? Is Angel alive anymore? Or are they gonna be able to get the back door to the prison realm open? Like, we need Gojo here. We need Gojo back because these guys just can't. They're all separated right now, and they just can't deal. Like we need the leader back. We need our leader back. So, anyways, that was chapter 215, Curse Womb Under Heaven, part 7. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here next time. Have a good one. Sayonara.